I'm extremely excited to be reviewing the brand new Roborock S6 robot vacuum. It's the new flagship robot vacuum from Roborock, and it has some interesting upgrades from the previous version, the S5. The S5 has become our favorite robot vacuum recently, so I was very interested to see what's changed with the S6. We put it through all of our usual tests, and this video will be our in-depth review. So links in the description to the S5 and the S6, and let's get started. This S6 was sent to me for free by Roborock to review, but as always, the tests we do speak for themselves and leave very little room for favoritism on my part. Starting off with the pros, one of the key upgrades from the S5 to the S6 is not something you can easily see. It's an upgrade with the processor. The S6 now has a massive 32-bit quad-core processor, which is absolutely huge, and is probably the main reason the S6 is just a little more expensive. The main reason you would need a bigger chip is to make it smarter and more efficient with regard to navigation, and it really showed. First though, I should say that if you asked me before this review what the best, most efficient robot vacuum was with regard to navigation, I would have said the Roborock S5, the previous version. In other words, it was already really good. But with the S6, it got even better. Roborock says it's 20% more efficient than the S5, and our tests seem to show just that. For example, the new S6 finished the small room navigation test with a new Vacuum Wars record of about 15 minutes. This is compared to about 22 minutes for the S5, 31 minutes for the i7, and 26.5 minutes for the brand new Roomba S9 Plus. We saw the same record-setting performance on the big room navigation test, where it got the entire room in 26 minutes, versus about 35 minutes on the Roomba S9. And it does it that fast without missing areas. It's just that the S6 is very smart, it knows exactly where it has and hasn't been, it doesn't get easily confused by odd situations or chair legs, it just gets the job done and gets it done really quickly. One of the obvious benefits to a more efficient robot vacuum is that it takes less battery life to get the job done, which brings us to another pro. The S6 has the best battery life of any robot vacuum I know of. Now, I don't actually think they changed the battery from the S5, but now instead of saying it has 150 minutes on low power, Roborock now claims the S6 can get 180 minutes on low power. Probably due to some adjustments with the power output in low power, I'm not sure, but in any case, that's 3 hours of runtime with the S6 on low power. And when you consider how efficient it is, it's hard to imagine the sheer square footage this thing could cover in one charge. It does also have recharge and resume, which means that it will automatically return to the base and recharge and then resume exactly where it left off, but I doubt many people are going to need recharge and resume unless they live in a particularly large house or they want to use it in max power where the battery life is reduced but still best in class. On that point, it also has a carpet boost mode where it will automatically adjust the power to max mode when it senses carpet to further optimize the battery life. Another pro is the features in the app, and by far my favorite of these is the no-go lines, where after the S6 completes a special run and maps out your home, you can create these virtual lines and or boxes in the app, and they keep the robot from going where you don't want it to go. And trust me, every house has places that a robot, no matter how good it is likely to get stuck. I've said it a million times, and this feature is the future of robot vacuums, and I personally won't use a robot vacuum in our house that doesn't have this feature. The previous version, the S5, does also have no-go lines, but the S6 is the only one with the new selective cleaning option. This is where you can create rooms in the app so you can have more customization of its run. For example, you could use the scheduling feature to say, on Tuesdays, clean this room, but not that one. Or just tell it to go clean the kitchen, and it will go clean only the kitchen and come back to the dock. Basically, the selective cleaning feature gives you a lot more customization option. There are lots of other features in the app, like zone cleaning for if you wanted to quickly clean around certain areas, like under a table or by a front door. You could draw a box around that area and the robot would go straight to it. But in general, the app has a lot going on, and it's probably one of the best apps in the robot vacuum world right now. Another big pro is the pickup performance, especially on hard floors. I've often said that Roborocks have some of the best cleaning mechanics in the industry, meaning that the brushes really work well together for a really smooth pickup that doesn't scatter debris like so many others do. It had a nearly perfect performance on hard floors in its max power mode, which was really good, but not surprising since a lot of robots can do really good on hard floors on max power. By the way, the S6 has 4 power settings ranging from low, which they call quiet mode, to max power. But the really interesting thing was that even in its lowest of the low power settings, it still had a nearly perfect run with no debris left behind. Probably the best performance on hard floors in low power that I've ever seen, second only to the S5, which also has a really good low power hard floor performance. Another uniquely good quality on the S6 was its ability to pick up hair without tangles. The S6 has upgraded the brush from the S5 primarily in that it now has more bristles, making it a much more dense brush. In any case, when we tested its hair pickup, which we do by spreading 1 gram of 7-inch human hair over hard floors, there was effectively no hair caught in the roller. It all made it to the dustbin, and I can't tell you how rare that is. Like the S5, the Roborock S6 is also a mop. It has a little water tank that you fill up and then you attach to the robot. Water then seeps into the pad and it mops your floors. A couple things to note here. With the S6, in addition to the 2 washable mopping pads, it now comes with quite a lot of disposable pads as well. You can attach those to the tank via an adapter. It's actually a really cool idea, and I tested those disposable pads with some grape juice and it did pretty good. In the past though, we've tested Roborock mops with dried on material and found that it was okay with that as well, especially for lighter stains, but you could get really stuck on debris too. You just needed to run it over the debris a few more times, but here's why you should care. Because you can pair the mop with the no-go lines feature in the app, you can actually make sure to keep the robot from mopping carpets or rugs without having to physically block off the areas or extensively prep the room, which is the downfall of even the best robot mops out there. For example, we recently reviewed the new iRobot Brava M6, and yes, it's probably a better mop than the Roborock will ever be, but number one, the Brava can't dry vacuum at all, let alone at the same time like the S6 can, but more importantly, the Brava requires extensive preparation of the area by removing all the rugs and or blocking off the carpeted rooms, where you can do all that with a few taps on your smartphone with the S6. Before we move on to the cons, let me first hit some stuff that really isn't a pro or a con, but just kind of neutral. Some of the power tests were just kind of neutral. On our airflow test, it actually scored just a little less than the S5 at 15 CFM of airflow to the S5 17 CFM. I know for sure they have the exact same motor, rated at 2000 pascals of suction, but for one reason or another, the S6's airflow was slightly reduced. One possibility is that the thicker bristles on the new brush, which they say has been increased 250%, could be impeding the airflow just a little bit, but in any case it didn't seem to affect much. The 15 CFM of airflow is still top of the line power, and its showing on the crevice pickup test, for example, was awesome, proving that it had not missed a beat. Similarly, its score on the carpet deep clean test was just kind of neutral. It scored 69%, which is about average for any mid-level or premium robot vacuum. I was just kind of hoping for a really amazing score here, but I guess average is good enough. The dustbin size is also just there. It's the exact same as the S5, not the biggest or the smallest, just kind of in the middle. I'm also putting its sound level in neutral, and don't get me wrong, it's probably one of the quietest robot vacuums in the market, but a lot of them are getting quiet these days. They do claim it's 50% quieter than the S5 in balanced mode, which is like its medium-high mode. I'm sure that's true, but the way I test noise, I only got a difference of about 6 decibels, which is a significant drop to an already quiet robot. I'm not sure how you calculate the difference in decibels as a percentage since it's logarithmic, so I'll leave that to the experts. So in terms of cons, the main thing was the new side brush, which has been updated with a new rubbery type material, which I'm sure is mainly to be more durable than the previous side brushes, which often needed to be replaced, which is a great thing, so I don't have a problem with that aspect. And I really don't have a problem with the new side brush being about the same in terms of edge and corner cleaning ability, which is pretty much on par with all-round robot vacuums. My issue was with the edge brush performance on thicker or longer carpets. It did pretty good as long as it was spinning, but occasionally the brush would just stop spinning for a second and then start up again. It was mostly noticeable on our super long pile carpet, but I also noticed it on the rug as well. It may be intentional, like a way to save battery life, as I did notice that it was always on during the edge cleaning part of its run. In any case, it caused the carpet cleaning scores to be lower than I was hoping. Again, it did really good on carpets in general, but I feel it could have been much better if the side brush spun the entire time. So the S6 with its new super chip is, in our opinion, the best robot vacuum in the world right now in terms of navigation. And not just in coverage, but also obstacle avoidance, efficiency, and it's especially true when you throw in all the navigation features like no-go lines, selective cleaning, and zone cleaning. It's also probably the best in terms of battery life on any power setting, but especially in low power, where it also had extremely good hard floor performance. It's one of the only choices if you have a lot of pet hair or human hair, since for whatever reason, Roborock brushes don't get tangled easily. And I still haven't figured out why that should be, but it is. Is it better than the S5? I think there's no question that it is in terms of things associated with its new chip, like its navigation, though it's pretty similar in every other respect. That being said, it's not like it's a huge huge price difference between the two either. I'll be putting out a video soon that will go into more detail on the differences between the S5 and S6, so be sure to subscribe for that. Links in the description for prices on the S6 and the S5, and thanks for watching.